Hello and welcome back. If this is your first time, I appreciate you stopping by. I'm going to try to keep this brief, even though I don't really know how to be brief. But yeah, so my name is Brittany. I go by B on Beat on Instagram and here on YouTube. I would love it if you would follow me there and here as well. Definitely like the video. It helps encourage me. It helps me understand if you want to see more of this content. And yeah, so let's get into it. I'm going to do a holiday party look. I'm going to pretend like I have one to go to because right now I don't. But we're going to pretend and have a little fun, have a little me time, and then I want to talk about confidence because yeah, that is what is on my heart to do. So definitely stay tuned and let's get into it. Okay, so it is a Tuesday night. My kids are still awake. So if you hear them, that's what's going on. I'm going to start with my brows. I want to try to make this simple because I know brows seem overwhelming. And I definitely want to help those people who have not put on a lot of makeup. So I'm going to try to just make them look clean without doing the most because brows, they really can take a lot of time if you let them. And I feel like when I start, you know, it's going okay. And then I'll start trying to finish it and then I just see things that look out of place. So that's usually what goes on with the brows. But what you can try to do is just fill them in and make a shape based on the shape that's kind of already there. And a lot of times our eyebrows are not exactly the same, so don't fret if they don't look exactly the same. So I'm going to use this LA Girl Pro brow pomade and this e.l.f. Small angle brush. So I'm going to start at the bottom and then create my line and then I'll go on the top. So I wanted to talk to you guys about confidence. That is what is on my heart to do. So as I have been trying to formulate my channel and figure out what am I going to do to stand out, and usually when we do things like that, in order to figure out how we're going to stand out, we start looking at everybody else, right? So I had to have a talk with myself and say, it doesn't really matter what everyone else is doing. I mean, you can start with looking at everyone else for reference, just so you know that you're not out here looking too crazy. But then after that, you need to stop because we will continue to look and look and look and look and compare. So I decided enough. What are the things that inspire me? What is on my heart to talk about? And just go from there instead of trying to figure out this formula. So I follow this girl on Instagram. Her name is Catherine Oshun. I don't want to butcher her name, but I'll put it in the comment section below. And she was kind of posting and talking about that, like, yeah, maybe there is a playbook for what you're trying to do, but maybe what you're trying to do, you can do it differently, you know? And not to say that people don't talk about confidence in their makeup videos, but some of the things that I feel inspired to talk about, I don't feel like they're talked about in makeup videos. And so I can't try to find what's out there if it's in me and it's on my heart to do. I just need to do it. So I'm inspired to talk about confidence because I think it's an area that a lot of us struggle with. It's an area that it's always a work in progress for me. But I think that I have come a long way. Not even I think. I'm working on not saying I think and just saying I know. And not saying probably, but just speaking with firmness. I think that's part of confidence as well. So I wanted to talk about that. And I'll start with saying that I think it might have been 2016. I don't know the exact year. I will have to go back and look. I wrote a book, a children's book. And the reason for me writing the children's book is because I always, number one, wanted to write a book. And then I wanted the book to be a way to inspire Black girls to know that they don't have to limit themselves on their dreams. So the gist of the book is that the little girl in the book is very inquisitive and knows how to fix things, and basically she's like a baby engineer. And that was kind of my way of putting that confidence marker out there. But I think now I need to go even a step further, and my channel is part of that. So yeah, I'm talking about makeup and people may think that's superficial, but like I've said in previous videos, it is a time for me to relax and focus on me. I have 4 kids, so me time is few and far between, but doing makeup allows me to just have some me time, and then in the end, you know, I have a different look. You know, I've always been into fashion in some ways, not like knowing designers and knowing designer names, but just the fun of putting different things together. I've always kind of been into that. So this is just an extension of that, and getting further to the heart of what I want to do and not waiting for someone to give you permission. So let me pause and say that I'm using the e.l.f. concealer, hydrating camo concealer in deep olive, just to go under my brows. And I'm trying to make this as quick as possible so we're not here forever. So now that I'm done kind of sculpting the brows, I'm going to just take this concealer brush and fade in the concealer. So now I'm going to use this ColourPop No Filter Concealer to use it as a base on my eyes to start the eyeshadow. I have recently been doing my face makeup before I do my eyeshadow, but because I want to try to experiment with using a little pop of glitter, I'm going to do my eyes first so I can clean up any glitter. So yeah, let's get more into this topic of confidence. I think a lot of times what stops us from doing some of the things that we want to do is judgment. I mean, I can say for in my case personally, you have all these voices in your head. That sounds a little crazy, but just the doubt, you know, oh, what will people think? So rewind. So I have done a lot of things on the internet. So some of the doubt that I had, you know, when I started doing makeup is like, okay, here you go with another change, another something that you want to do. But I decided, because I'm not going to let fear and doubt rule me, that I'm going to go ahead and go after the things that I want to. So if I've pivoted and I've changed and I want to talk about makeup, and I'm gonna talk about makeup. So if anyone who knows me and maybe was following me before, if they're not interested, then it just is what it is. But you can't live your life worried about what other people think while you have something inside you that you desire to do. So I'm going to try this Juvia's Place bronzer on my eyes. I'm going to use, I think I'm gonna use this top shade right here. So this is the dark palette. I'm just gonna use that to cut my crease, or not cut my crease, what am I talking about, to fill in above my crease. Yeah, so the thing is, whoever has these negative things to say about whatever you're doing, you have to realize that they are just spectators and they are not the ones putting themselves out here. So you really shouldn't be worried about their judgment. Only judgment you should be worried about is someone who is honestly supporting you, and if they want to give you some type of feedback, or judgment, if you're going to take some judgment from someone who has already been there and is willing to say, hey, this is how I did it, these are my suggestions, blah 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 blah. But other than that, anyone who is just talking about you because they're being a hater, which I hate that word, but you have to ignore that. You cannot worry about that, because whatever is inside of you, God put it there, and he didn't consult with anybody when he put it in there. So in some ways, you don't need to consult with anybody who hasn't been there, and anyone who doesn't have your best interest at heart. And even people who have your best interest at heart may not understand your dream and may not understand your vision, because it's not something that they've ever done. They've never put themselves out there. So what you're saying to them might seem scary or it might seem impossible, but you just have to be prayerful and continue to pursue those things that you know aren't going away, even when you try to ignore them. Even if they seem hard and they seem difficult, that's where you have to have the confidence to believe in yourself and know that, yeah, things are difficult and they're hard, but that doesn't mean that they're impossible, you know? So I just finished watching the King Richard movie, and that just goes to show you, like, the way that he planned everything out for them. I mean, that was amazing. And that just goes to show you that with determination, you know, you could do those very same things. So I'm going to switch over to the tan palette and just put this right here in my eyelid. And I say all this as encouragement, and I understand that some of these things are, you know, easier said than done, and you may say, oh, well, where do I get started? I can't really answer that part, but I do know that it's worth figuring out. And like I was talking about earlier, it doesn't mean continuing to overstimulate and oversaturate your brain with other people who are doing what you want to do or doing something similar. You can do it for research purposes, but after you know that you've gotten more than enough research, it is time to act. And so a prime example, I used to talk to one of my cousins all the time, and we knew that we wanted to have a business. So we would be brainstorming, you know, different ideas and sending them to each other. But we never moved on any of the things that we thought about. And one of the things that I told her that we should make was somewhere where it was like a charging station. So I think I was at the airport and I needed to charge my phone. And I think it may not have even been like a plug or a place that I could charge my phone at. So I said, you know, what if there's like a station where you can charge your cell phone? And of course, thinking through the logistics, we're just like, okay, well, who's gonna, you know, we're thinking like a kiosk in the mall. Who's going to man the kiosk? Who's going to watch over the person's phone when they're not there anymore? So long story short, if you've been to the airport recently or the mall, you will see that they have a charging station where you can charge your phone. I think the phone is locked up. I don't know how it works. I've never used it. And then we took my son on a campus tour, and they had the cell phone thing like in the common area where students go, I think like where they eat. And they were actually using it. Like they were standing there, they were putting their phone and waiting for the next person to go. And I'm like, that's the idea that I had right there before that idea came out. And the first time I did see one, it was in the airport. I sent her a picture, like, so I mean, sometimes it's just about following through and not, you know, using those excuses of, well, who's gonna man the kiosk? Like just going down, I guess, the rabbit hole to figure out a way for it to work. Because I think we did think, oh, well, maybe it could be kind of like locked up or something and you wouldn't need someone to watch it. But that's an idea right there. So yeah, go after those things that are on your heart to do. So let's do a little bit of makeup. So what I'm going to do, I want to do a little bit of glitter on this, I guess you basically could say plain look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the glitter glue from NYX. I'm going to put that just on my eyelid, and then I'm going to follow it up with using the glitter. So I'm going to stop doing all this and then just kind of zoom in so you guys can see what I'm doing. And just know when you're putting this glitter glue and it's kind of messing with the other part of your eyeshadow, you can go back and fix that. The glitter can be messy. So this is J. LaRue Cosmetics, and this is the color Sugar Plum. So I'm going to take my finger and tap it on. So while I wait for the glue to dry on my eyes, I'm going to go ahead and prime my skin. I'm going to use the Smashbox Oil and Shine Control. I haven't used this too much to really give a review on it, but I'm about to use it right now. Okay, so let's get into the face. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to cover under my eyes with a reddish concealer, and then I'm going to go in with some foundation. I've honestly been doing a lot less foundation than I typically do and doing more just concealer and powder, but let's just start. So I'm using the ColourPop No Filter Concealer in Deep Dark 50. This is my absolute favorite. Then I just like to go in with a sponge and push it in. So I'm going to use Juvia's Place foundation. Since I do makeup, I have them in this little thing, but this is what it is. So I'm going to use a darker one on the outer part and then a lighter one in here. So with the Juvia's Place, honestly, a little does go a long way. And sometimes with it being in this container, I end up using more than I actually need. Then I'm going to use my Real Techniques foundation brush. So then I'm going to use my favorite concealer to do my contour. And this is the Pretty Fresh ColourPop Deep Dark 205 Neutral. So my battery actually died on me, but we are back in business. And I'm just going to use my foundation brush that I was using before to push in the contour. So as you can see, this kind of brings your makeup together and brings it to life. Now, I don't feel like it's an absolute must. Sometimes it's easier to just use the powder contour instead of doing the liquid one, but it definitely makes your makeup have dimension and it doesn't look so flat. So it looks totally different now that I have this other additional makeup on from when I first started and it was just my eyes, you know? So I'm going to do a little extra brightening under the eye, just a little bit, with the e.l.f. Hydrating Concealer. So I think this has definitely become my favorite concealer because I am definitely going for it all the time. So I'm using the Fenty powder to go under my eyes and everywhere that I did the highlight. You know what? Actually, I didn't do a lot of highlight everywhere else, so let me do that. Let me rewind. So for contour, this will be my first time using it. Of course, I used it on my eyes, but my first time using the Juvia's Place for contouring all over. I did do some swatches earlier, and I saw that it had a lot of pigment. Okay, so I did a few finishing touches off camera, so now I'm going to do the final part, and let's do the lips. I'm going to use the Juvia's Place Cola, I think it's Cola liner, the same one I use all the time. And then I'm going to use the Makeup Revolution Matte in Crush. And I'm not going to put a gloss over it because I think it's doing the job as is. And if I was going somewhere, matte lasts longer than gloss. So it's going to dry down a little bit and it won't be as shiny. But yeah, that is one of my favorite lips, and it is definitely inexpensive. So here is the final look, and this is what I would wear to my imaginary Christmas party that I'm not invited to. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about what I was talking about, any input in the comments that you can share with everyone else about confidence, definitely put that below, and be on the lookout for more videos. And I thank you for watching today.